Today I'm going to tell you about Startup Estonia's ecosystem. I joined Startup Estonia team actually quite recently, and I'm working at Startup Estonia as a startup visa and foreign relations project lead. But in the next 10 to 15 minutes, you will find out more about Estonian unicorns and some of the tools and programs that we have. Startup Estonia was actually launched in 2015. It is a governmental program, and it operates actually under the Ministry of Economics and Communication. Startup Estonia's main goal is to supercharge the Estonian startup ecosystem. And in 2015, we had this wild dream to have 1,000 startups in Estonia by 2020. Quite soon you will find out if we succeeded in the dream or not. Other goals that we had was to actually make sure that there are plenty of fundings available for startups. What we don't do though is we don't give out any money directly to startups, but we do that through our support organizations. Then we make sure that the legislative environment is clear. So for in between startups and the government, and we have yearly meetups with the government, and we make sure that the monitoring of the entire sector goes smoothly. And our the end goal is to have a collaborative ecosystem and to ensure that all the support organizations collaborate with each other. So the startup sector actually grows approximately 30% a year, and it's the fastest growing sector in the Estonian economy right now. There are over 1,114 startups, so you can see that we did actually reach our goal by far. And the growth can be seen from the four main KPIs. So the number of jobs created, the amount of employee taxes paid, the total sector turnover, and the amount of investments raised. So the startups are actually the main innovation drivers in Estonia. But what is a startup? Actually, in every country, the definition can be slightly different. In Estonia, we actually wrote down in the law the definition of the startup. So in Estonia, it's a company that is based in technology. It's innovative, has a repeatable and scalable business model, and has a fast global potential. I will later explain you more in depth why we needed to define it actually in law, but it has to do with the startup visa. So the unicorns in Estonia, amongst those 1,114 startups, we also have startups that are actually very successful. So as you may know, in Estonia, we have only 1.3 million inhabitants. So to have 5 startups that are valued over $1 billion, it's a very big achievement, and we are super proud of that. We can see sort of 2 waves in this unicorn section. And the first one started in the early 2000s when Playtech was founded. They create the software for gambling and gaming companies. And then Skype was founded in 2003. And probably everybody here has used it over some time, and especially of the times of pandemic, it's been quite a useful tool for a lot of people, I believe. But the founding engineers were from Skype in Estonia, and after Skype was sold, actually some of those people then founded other startups, and that's, for example, TransferWise. David Hindrikus was the first worker in Skype, and he was the founder of TransferWise, which does peer-to-peer money transferring. And then Bolt is a main competitor for Uber, for example, and it's a ride-sharing platform, but they have done a lot of different things as well. For example, food delivery. They also offer electric scooter rent. and they mainly focus actually in Eastern Europe and Africa. And then the last unicorn that became a unicorn is Pipedrive. They created a very useful tool for salespeople. And what is very important is that when Pipedrive became a unicorn, a lot of workers actually had the shares. And now it is there is a rumor that about 100 people became millionaires in Estonia, and they laid a great basis for the future startups to come. But in here you can see the support organizations that we have in our ecosystem. Again, as Estonia is so small, to have 100 support organizations is quite an achievement, and we are very proud and happy about this. And they are here in this slide divided into sections. You can see that one part is the service that they are providing, and the other part that's in the division is where they are most useful at, which stage are they most useful at. And a very interesting part is perhaps the startup mindset entering that doing. So basically, people who haven't basically started a startup yet, but are very talented, are also in our focus, because that's why we can grow our ecosystem. Now, Estonian Startup Visa had a very interesting story. So back in 2016, actually, the main founders of startups saw that we don't have enough people in Estonia to accommodate the need of the talent. So they came to Startup Estonia with this idea to create the Startup Visa. And we actually added to the program also the Startup Visa for Estonian founders. So currently, Startup Visa can be offered to foreign founders outside of EU who want to relocate their business to Estonia, but also to Estonian startups who wish to hire talent from outside of EU. And the great thing is that actually within 11 months, we realized the idea. In 2017, Startup Estonia Visa was founded. So Estonia Visa program is actually one of the most successful visa programs in the world. We have created value with that because over 2,700 people got the chance to move to Estonia. And you can see the top countries for founders to relocate from are Russia, Iran, Turkey, and India. And the top countries for employees to relocate from are Brazil, India, Russia, and Ukraine. So you can see that there are countries that are culturally quite similar to Estonia, but we can see that also very surprising countries like Brazil are in the top list. So how do you actually apply for the startup visa? You can take a test on our website, and there you can you see why we needed to define the startup in our law, because this is how we find who is eligible and who is not for the visa. And after the test, you can actually apply for the status. Another thing that is special about this is that we have this startup committee that consists of main founders of different startups, angel investors, and so on. And so they will evaluate the idea before you even get to go to the Estonian Police and Border Guard Board or an embassy. So it's true experts of the field that evaluate your idea. You can get a lot of help from our migration advisors, and also check a lot of information about settling in Estonia on the Settle in Estonia webpage. And also a lot of interesting events are on the International Estonia website. So what do you get? Well, basically, ease of access to Estonia. Together with that, you get the access to Estonian startup ecosystem. We have very close contact with the highest governmental officials. And lastly, but most importantly, those people get access to the EU markets. Another useful tool that we have on Startup Estonia website are the modal documents, and I'll show you quickly a video about this.
Annika, there is a problem with audio.
Oh.
Do you have this video on YouTube?
All the documents are free to download and can be found on Startup Estonia's webpage.
Okay,
Good luck on your journey.
Okay, perhaps I will share the entire slideshow later so you can re-watch the video or just check it on YouTube. Now I'll also tell you a little bit about the startup database we have on our website. Startup database is a great tool to get insight about the Estonian startup ecosystem. So we created our own system as some of the platforms that were available didn't meet our needs. But you can get an overview of the Estonian startups by ranking and filtering them by sectors. You can filter them by technology, the stage, employee count, or turnover. So a very useful tool. And lastly, don't forget to follow us on our social media channels. Definitely recommend to listen to Startup Estonia podcast that is available on Spotify and also YouTube. And thank you very much. If you have any questions, I will be later in the networking tables.